Hi all, this is Meyleen Velasquez. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a registered play therapist. I also have a specialty in infant and perinatal mental health. I was hoping that today we can have a brief discussion about how to help clients to set realistic expectations and goals, especially during this time. As we think about perinatal clients, one of the things that I often see with the population that I work is this hope to accomplish an array of things that at times when the client is sharing the list of things that they're hoping to do, they can sound very unreasonable to us, but that it requires a little bit of work with the client to help them to differentiate between what is the reality of what they can actually do versus what is the fantasy of what they're hoping to do. As we know, a lot of the clients that we work with that struggle with perinatal anxiety or immense amounts of worry tend to have a bit of perfectionistic characteristics that they need to work through. And part of helping the client through the process of recognizing perfectionism is helping them to figure out what is in their control, what is outside of their control, and what is it that they're actually doing on a day-to-day basis. So one of the first things that I do with clients is I have them think of a list of items that they want to accomplish. And I actually give this as a therapeutic assignment for them to work throughout the week and bring it into the next session. So this is an actual written list of tasks that they're hoping to accomplish. The next thing that we do is that we take account or data of what is happening on a day-to-day basis. This helps us to account for how is the time being spent and how much time is realistically being spent on one situation or one item that they're working on versus what is it that they're hoping. Sometimes some of my clients want to prepare a meal in 20 minutes, when in reality, preparing a meal when you have little children might not take 20 minutes. It might take a lot longer than that. So helping them to look at the length of time that it actually takes to complete tasks can be very helpful in assisting clients to set expectations of themselves that they're actually going to be able to accomplish. Once we have the list of goals that the client wants to accomplish and we have a good look at how is it that they're spending their day, the next step is to look at the goals and to assess whether they're reasonable, realistic, and flexible enough to fit into the day-to-day. I often tell clients to start with very, very small goals, because as we accomplish very small goals, there is a sense of satisfaction and motivation that then propels us to work on the other items that we have listed. Also, that small steps are actually going to be the ones that are going to be long lasting. So I give the client the metaphor of we're here and we want to get here, but we can't just jump over the ladder. We have to take very careful steps. And so to get from 0 to 10, we're going to go 0.5 at a time, sometimes even less, depending on what your client might need. An example of this might be a client that wants to increase the level of movement or exercise. So I will ask them, what is the smallest possible step that you can take towards meeting this goal? And we want to make sure that the smallest possible step is actually really reasonable. If I'm working with a client that is in a deep depression and is having difficulty getting out of bed, I want the smallest possible goal to be something like setting out their gym clothing, or perhaps putting on the shoes, or maybe even stepping outside of the door and then coming right back in. It's going to be those very small steps that are going to lead clients to reach success and that are going to keep them engaged in the work that they need to do in therapy. As the client accomplishes the steps that they've set out to accomplish, then we build upon those goals. So we move from stepping outside of the door to actually going to the front of the house. Or maybe we start with picking a place in the house where they're actually going to engage in some exercise and movement. And then the next goal can be for them to look online and find an exercise video that they actually want to do. If clients are going to be doing an exercise video, I recommend 10 to 15 minutes, depending on what their body is able to do, just to make sure that it's reasonable and that the client is going to be able to follow through. If they want to do more, then great, the client is able to do more, but then the goal is small. That way, if they only exercise for 20 minutes, but they were really hoping to exercise for 30, we still met the goal. Another tip that I give to clients in terms of accomplishing things that they've set out to is hyperfocus. Hyperfocus is very similar to the Pomodoro technique, and the premises is that you're going to tell clients to pick one task that they're going to work on for 20 minutes. During those 20 minutes, they're going to work uninterrupted, and that means without taking a break to watch TV or taking a sip of water or going to the restroom or checking their phone or checking their email. This can be 20 minutes of putting the clothes away, 20 minutes of focusing on cleaning a certain area of the house, 20 minutes focused on their job or work that they're doing, or even just 20 minutes reading a good book. Whatever the client wants to accomplish, having a time where they're going to be focused without interruptions is going to really help them to be able to follow through with the goals that they've set. After the 20 minutes is over, then the client can take a break, and the break can be as long as they need it. Sometimes I might recommend to the clients to do 2 20-minute hyper-focus sessions, and sometimes I might say to the client, do one hyper session activity or moment during the week. You know your clients best, and you know what is realistic for them. Of course, when there's little children involved, it can be very difficult to find those 20 minutes. And so this is the exception. As things come up with the child, respond to the child, and then go back to the task that you're trying to accomplish. Setting an alarm on the phone or setting a timer that the client can start and stop as they're doing whatever it is that they need to do with their children can be really useful in keeping track of what they're trying to get done. And as we work through this process, it's important to help clients to gain a sense of self-compassion as they're looking at the things that they're accomplishing and as they're also paying attention to the things that they're not accomplishing. As humans, we have a tendency to be really harsh to ourselves. So it's very important that we're giving clients a way that they can ground and that they can extend a little bit of kindness to themselves as they see certain things happening in their day-to-day and as they see that they're not getting the amount of things that they're hoping to accomplish on a day-to-day basis. A very simple self-compassion practice is helping the client to place a hand on their chest, to notice what they're feeling, notice what they're thinking, and then to say to themselves to feel this way, to want to bond with my children, but to feel angry and frustrated. This breaks my heart. Whatever it is that the client connects with, help them to figure out, using their own words, a way that they can validate the emotion and that they can extend that kindness that then is going to help them to remain motivated so that they don't throw away their goals, and so that we're helping clients build tools, strategies, and techniques so that they can work through difficult emotion and still get what they need to get done in a day, in a week, or in a month. So these are some simple strategies to helping clients stay focused on goal setting and making sure that they're keeping themselves in mind. I hope that this is useful and helpful in your practice. If there's anything else that you would like to see, please let me know. Bye.